jolly good. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Klein Zerker. Welcome to another My Thoughts On. We're going to talk about Skyfall. Oh, yes. Skyfall, the fourth... no, is it the fourth? No, it's the third entry in the Daniel Craig Bond series. This is directed by Sam Mendes, who you'll know for American Beauty, Road to Perdition, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Revolutionary Road, Away We Go, and last year's 1917. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, of course you do. So this film came out in 2012, and interestingly, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first Bond film to not only get nominated for 5 Oscars, but it won 2. Best Original Song for Skyfall and Sound Editing. And it was tied with Zero Dark 30. Fucking hell. It was a huge hit at the box office, of course, critically acclaimed, people loved it. I actually saw this in the cinema. This was the first Bond film I saw in the cinema. Fun story. We were going to go and see it, me and my dad, with a friend of his, and we were a little bit late for one reason or another. Can't remember what, but there you go. And we only missed a little bit of the movie. It was at the Arts Picture House, which is a cinema in my hometown, Cambridge, where they show like independently made films. They'll show big blockbuster movies there too. But it's a very nice cinema. I think this was the first film I saw. But the question is, does this hold up, and is my opinion, whatever it is, still the same? Well, let's find out. In this movie, right, in Skyfall, I'm trying to put this in the best way I could. So Bond, and so after a recent incident involving him getting shot by Eve, played by Naomi Harris, in one of the few films of this month. She was in 28 Days Later, and she'll be in Venom 2. So after that, he kind of like hides away for a while. So doing the whole kind of faking his own death thing, hiding out, drinking, and then he comes back in the most mysterious way, just being himself. Basically, he reports to M, played once again by Judi Dench. And what's the next mission? Well, there's this terrorist out there who wants to bomb all of London and especially take down M. Obviously, you've seen the trailers and you've seen the posters. It is Silva, played by Javier Bardem. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's from No Country for Old Men. He is in Beautiful. He was also in Collateral as well. He's also in Dune, which is out this... Or is it next month? Yeah, next month. Pirates of the Caribbean as Captain Salazar. He's the big terrorist here, the big villain who wants to take them all down for quite the complicated reasons. And Bond has to take him down eventually. And yeah, that's it. But what makes this different, a lot more different compared to Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, is that the stakes are higher. They are raised higher. The last 2 films had stakes, but they weren't as dangerous or as, big as this. It feels urgent, it feels more serious, and there's something big going on. which will eventually lead to Spectre, which I'll talk about tomorrow. The story of the movie gets more interesting. It's not your typical kill the villain, hunt him down, stop him from doing this and that. It does at times connect to Bond's backstory, which is loosely explained. And then the third act is actually when the film pretty much comes together. The first two just moves along very nice and steady. It takes its time. It balances both the action, the incredible action, and the exposition stuff really well. It really gets you sucked into what's going on, and you can. This film I actually understood more than the last two, which I didn't quite fully get. But this was like proper, solid storytelling, spy storytelling, not groundbreaking, but what Sam Mendes did was terrific, and he does do really extraordinary storytelling, especially with 1917, and I have not seen American Beauty and all that, and I should really, because I do like the guy. He is really talented. The action, of course, is excellent, well choreographed, well shot, cool, stylish, exactly what you expect from Bond and more. The film does have the good lines, which are the comedy of the movie, because it's not really a comedy, but I did laugh a few times at the really funny lines, and even the interactions with Bond and Silver as well, which were pretty amusing. There's also the familiar traits of Bond, tracking down the bad guy, taking him out, something goes wrong, he meets a girl. And the love interest in the movie, well, let's just say it kind of goes in a very dark direction, and thankfully it doesn't go on for a long time, which is good, because whenever he's with someone, they just go. You know, they just come and go, and then there you go. Yeah. So, my favourite part of the whole movie is basically... So, right, this film came out within the same year as The Dark Knight Rises, and in some cases you could say this is the Dark Knight of the Craig Bond series. In terms of story, tone, and even visuals alone, which I'll get to in a bit. This film feels more risky and more big and more dangerous, while the other two are just, I don't know, considered just as small missions. But this one's like big and huge and dangerous and higher, and there's a bigger villain that's right under their noses, if you catch my drift. But yeah, I got nothing else to comment on other than it seems to bring all these elements. This is what works about Isle of Dogs. It mixed all these unusual elements together. This one does it in a very similar way. Is that it knows how to balance out story, character, action, drama, and everything to give you enough time to be on the edge of your seat, be invested. And this is a great film to see in the cinema alone. Like, this is beyond impressive. To be on the edge of your seat, be interested. This is what this film does. It does it in a brilliant way. Do I have any issues? I can't think of one that no. I just no. It's that perfect. This is probably the best in terms of storytelling for a Bond movie. Debatable compared to Casino Royale, which people say is the best one, and I disagree. But it does the right amount of action, drama, story, good twists too. It goes by smoothly, quickly, but also takes its time. And that's what makes this film a pretty solid spy movie. I mean, a spy story. I'm giving away a little bit too much, aren't I? Visuals. Now this was my favourite part of the movie. The other two films have not been taking place in London. Second one, a little bit, and maybe with the first one from what I remember. But, the locations were nice and it looked pretty, but this one is like proper look British looking, and I love it. It has, again, coming back to the Dark Knight, it looks like the British version of the Dark Knight, coming down to our main villain who likes anarchy, but at the same time he kind of wants revenge, but he's also sadistic too. And visually there's like lots of like dull, like dark grey tones, and it works in terms of the tone of the movie. But the scenery in these different locations, the nighttime stuff, brilliant, and in the daytime and the action, even the CGI looks convincing. It's so well put together, and it's the most British looking Bond movie, which is ironic because Bond is a British spy, and it captures the dreadedness of a city being under attack really well. I love the way it looked. Even all the ridiculous, action and fights and chases, they are all huge and big and explosive and just impressive. Despite how silly the scene with the train is, it's fucking huge. And the third act is when the film comes together in terms of production and visuals, and it's incredibly awesome and incredibly beautiful to look at. I would love to see this in the cinema again, because this was, visually just sumptuous and all that. Do I have any issues again? The CGI did look noticeable, but that's not really a bad thing. Visually, this is the best looking Bond film. Yeah, debatable, but this is probably the best looking Bond film with that British feel and sense, and it delivered that beautifully. Characters and acting. Do you know what? I wasn't too fond of Bond in the other films, but I think this is probably the best in terms of character. He is still like, the emotionless, trying to be, so full of himself, one-liner, chatting girls, drinking martini, spy, but there's a little bit more to him than you would think, and it works. He feels more fleshed out and he feels more urgent than ever. Our villain, Silver, is probably the best villain in the Bond series, probably one of the best villains, but in the Craig series, he is like the Joker. He is sadistic, he is psychopathic, he's got a unique personality that makes him crazy, but also understandable. He's a very understandable villain. And come on, he is fucking funny. He has some very funny lines, even if he is evil. He is... God. There was one scene with him when, obviously, he gets... You've probably seen this, but he gets captured by MI6. And he shows something to M because... I won't give too much away, but it involves him trying to take out Bond and M. And he takes out something that kind of put me off, which makes me kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time makes him more and more insane. But yeah, he's brilliant. He's a fucking... He doesn't stop for nothing. He will do whatever he can to, attack London or go after M. He's a great villain. The other two villains are, great, but this one's like proper intimidating, and I really enjoyed his presence. M plays a very key role in the movie, and in the last two, she's just more like a significant character. Here, she's actually got more of a role, and she actually is a key role as well, and she's great. She is a brilliant supporting character, and her chemistry, once again, with Bond is great. It's sarcastic, funny, understandable, great supported character. You got Eve as well, who's Moneypenny, also. She's a great supporting character too. You've also got Mallory, played by Ralph Fiennes, who isn't in the film for a long time, but he definitely helps out a little bit, and he's a good screen presence. Same with Q, played by Ben Whishaw, who you'll know as Paddington from the Paddington movies. He's also a pretty decent supporting character as well, and I quite enjoyed him too. Tanner, played by Rory Kinnear, returns as well. Again, good supporting character. Also, you've also got Kinnaid, played by the late Albert Finney, who I won't say too much, but he is probably the best supporting character, even if he's not in the film for too long. But good screen presence from him, like really strong, really good. That's all I've got to say about that one, really. Who else? That's it, really. The acting, pretty much from everyone, is like spot on. Daniel Craig at his best in these films. The other two films, he was pretty good. I was like, not convincing, but in this one, I'm like, damn, he gets better and better as Bond. No joke. Javier Bardem, brilliant as Silver. Really hammers his role and he really gets into it. Fucking crazy too, and I loved it. Naomi Harris, charming, brilliant, and lovely as always. And Judi Dench, a delight, absolute delight. Ben Whishaw, Ray Fiennes, Rory Kinnear, brilliant too. They play it so naturally, like you feel like that they are actually not acting, but they are great. They all are. Albert Finney too. The characters in the film, I don't know what to say, but they are all helpful. Our main hero is great. Our main villain is intimidating. They're very well fleshed out. They're all helpful as well, but they're interesting, and they are, they represent the humanity side of us, while also being helpful and being entertaining, along with some really strong acting, especially from Craig and Bardem, and Dench as well. Why not? It makes these characters more fun, more entertaining, more lovable, more likeable, and more cool, actiony spy thingy. I've got nothing on that. The score of the movie is not by David Arnold, but it's by Thomas Newman. The composer of Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Wall-E, mainly the Pixar films directed by Andrew Stanton. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Where do I start? First off, I'm a big Thomas Newman fan. I love his music. It's so atmospheric, so gorgeous. It just makes you cry. With this one, with the James Bond action stuff, it's well blended and well put together, and it works. And it's beautiful, nice, just superb, and I loved it. One of his best scores. Also, Skyfall is a brilliant song performed by Adele. My favourite Bond song. The other Bond songs are pretty good. I have not heard the one for No Time to Die yet, but yeah. Oh, speaking of which, it's Thursday today. The film's out, so I'll be seeing it Saturday, in case you didn't know. Anyways, Spyfall. Wait, did I say Spyfall? I said Spyfall. Skyfall. How the hell did I mix that up with Spyfall? Fuck, Skyfall, I think, is the best, most perfect Bond movie you can think of. It has all the familiar elements from before, but it does them all in a brilliant, new, intense, big, risky, visually, breathtaking in terms of how London is portrayed way. Even with some really likeable, really standout characters and fucking superb acting, along with some cool action, good lines, well directed too, of course. A fantastic score by Thomas Newman, as to be expected, and a brilliant song. Guys, if you love Bond, go watch it. I think people debate whether this is better than Casino Royale. I think this is better than both Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. altogether. Spectre, on the other hand, well, you have to find out tomorrow. So yeah, Skyfall. I gotta try not to say that. It's like a tongue twister. Go watch it. If you love spy films, you'll love this one. You don't. If you need context, I'll suggest you watch the other films. But if you just want to watch this alone, go for it. Brilliant, fun, action-packed, terrific. 10 out of 10. Need I say more? Oh, Spyfall. I haven't watched this film in a very long time, and it's almost next year. I think so next year, next month, it'll be like 10 years old, which is insane. But yeah, it's a fucking brilliant movie. I can see people not liking it for being silly and repetitive, but I didn't quite see that. So yeah, loved it. So next up, I'll be talking about Spectre, which is tomorrow, and then afterwards, No Time to Die, which is already out today. So go and see it. Let me know what you think of it. Just don't spoil it. So if you have seen, I was going to say Spectre, Skyfall. If you've seen Skyfall, well, what do you think about it? Is it good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And until next time, the name's Bond. James, I can't do it. I'm not Bond. I'm not. I don't think I'll be able to play him. No.